If you're in Washington, D.C. these days, it's not a word you want to hear. Sequester.
It's those across-the-board budget cuts your family will feel in March unless lawmakers can come to an agreement on how to reduce the nation's deficit. Back home, here's how all of this will affect you. Texas will lose nearly $518 million in federal public education funds. The Austin Independent School District says it would lose $4.8 million, which would mean job losses and cuts to services for disabled children.
College financial aid would also take a hit. The UT system says it would lose $1.4 million each year. Child care for low-income families would also suffer. One example, the Texas Workforce Commission's child care services would lose $20 million, and that would mean more than 7,000 parents could lose jobs because they don't have anyone to watch their children while they're at work. KXAN political reporter Josh Hinkle looks in depth at this looming problem.
Well, Robert, those numbers you just mentioned are part of a report from the Texas House Committee on Federal Sequestration. The report just came out, and that committee no longer exists. It detailed the potential impact, but left no action for state agencies to take, only a warning. Continue to monitor the federal government's actions and prepare as best they can in the event that a sequester does occur. While working on the state budget, Texas House members are watching what Washington lawmakers do or don't do in the next few weeks.
How will that impact our state?
Representative James White is pitching the Texas Self-Sufficiency Act. The House would form a special committee to study what a decrease or even elimination of federal funding would mean for the state.
Understanding at least a third of our budget comes from the federal government, we need to have the contingencies in place.
This former high school teacher knows how schools will suffer, and a great deal of his Southeast Texas constituency is elderly, relying on federal health and Social Security dollars.
Everywhere there is some federal presence, there is a potential for impacting your family.
The state is in a standstill, waiting on what happens with its Washington delegation first. Congressman Michael McCall's office says he's exploring the impact cuts will have on the Department of Homeland Security. Senator John Cornyn says his main concern has also been the impact on national security. All agree, though, there is no agreement shaping up between parties or chambers.
The House Republican Speaker has refused to permit the House to act on this until the Senate acts, and the Senate Republican leader has indicated that this across-the-board cut will become effective.
Bracing for the worst here at home, that House committee that warned Texas agencies, like I said, it no longer exists. But staff says similar moves could now go to a new select committee on federalism. Well, we checked. So far, nothing to directly prepare for these cuts, but there is legislation to call on Congress to balance the federal budget, and also another that would require a majority of state legislatures' approval before Congress can increase the federal debt. Josh Hinkle, KXAN News.